Hello, Jets fans. I'm Jeremy. This is Jets Chaos. Today we're talking about the culture because that's the big news right now. Culture, 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 right? But what is culture and what does it mean? Aaron Glenn came out and he said, silence is culture. Silence is culture. Well, it's certainly a representation of a better culture when you don't have employees betraying the team by saying things they're not supposed to say to the press, which means they have no respect for the leadership. When you have people in any position, anyone in the building, saying things and telling reporters what's going on and putting themselves and their own ego and their need to feel important by spreading information, there's a problem with the culture. Now, I had one moron, total foolish person. We know that. We see them on Twitter. We see these Jet fans that are so stupid that are like part of the problem because they accept this culture. He said, "I can't stand it when you talk about something other than what the problem was, Chaos. I can't listen to it. The problem was the defensive line last year. The problem's been going on for 15 years. How many winning records has this organization had in the last 14 years? What, 2015? Was there even another season where we had a winning record? And I got idiots telling me that, oh, you should have been happy if you paid 5 million, but don't pay 10 million for the wide receiver. We really have people who are mentally disturbed. Yes, one of the things that was wrong with last year's team, a clear weakness in the team, was the defensive line, which this leadership, this owner, right, and down to the regime that he had hired, for some reason dismantled, which we'll never understand. But the year before that, our quarterback went down, right? And we didn't have backup offensive linemen for some reason. That wasn't important going into the season, even though we knew that we had struggled with injuries in our offensive line. And the year before that, it was the quarterback, right? It was always the quarterback. We never have the quarterback. But before Aaron Rodgers, before he even got hurt, before we even had him, we made the bad choice on quarterback. And before that, it was Adam Gase. What a horrible coach. And it was a terrible coach, right? But it was also Le'Veon Bell, who we brought in, who did nothing but say, this team stinks, I want out of here, right? It's been culture for years. For years, it's been a loser mentality. It's been players coming in here and having no respect for the leadership, no respect for the team, no respect for the fans, nothing. Just bitching, complaining, what's right for me, what's right for, and that's it. No pleasure, no enjoyment, just like any company. It's not different than anything else. These are employees. They play football. That's what's unique. They get to do something that they love. But rock and roll singers and singers in a band get to do what they love. And guess what happens? Does it matter how good they are if they're fighting and they're not getting along? What happens? The band breaks up, right? Well, what happens when a team can't break up and you're stuck there, right? You mentally break up. You're not happy. You're not giving your best. You're not focused on teamwork, on chemistry. Everyone starts to do their own thing and worry about themselves. So culture is very important. And I think that when people say, well, what does he mean by silent, staying silent? Why is that so important? It's a respect. It's a respect that you're part of the team and not out for yourself. So that's why it's so important that we no longer have these leaks. Now, it's hard sometimes to know because there might be a leak and you'll say, oh, the culture's dead. Well, no, because sometimes they let leaks out on purpose. They really do. They're not leaks that, like, in the sense when I say let out a leak, they're letting out information on purpose that they don't want people to know. It's called bluffing, right? It's like poker. Let me look strong when my hand is weak. Let me look really strong. Let me look weak when my hand is not strong, right? Or when it is strong, or whatever, however you play poker. I don't know. I forgot. It's been years. But the point is, to divert, right? You know how many people they're the 30 interviews you get for the college draft. You know how many teams you'll see interviewing a player and it's like doesn't even make sense. Well, sometimes it's because they're interested in case there's a trade or there's legitimacy to it. They could be trying to throw off the sense. There could be guys, why aren't we interviewing that guy? Why aren't we interviewing that guy? Maybe they did informally at the Senior Bowl, and they don't want to set up an official interview or a formal interview because they don't want a team that might trade ahead of them to know that they're interested in them. Maybe not. But the point is, whatever that strategy is, we don't need people inside the building letting that information out, letting that information leak. It's about respecting your employers. Now, the problem with the culture wasn't only the coaching last year. It wasn't only the general manager last year, right? Because this goes way beyond the last few years. It goes 10, 12 years. The problem is you can't have an owner go to a backup quarterback who comes in and plays his ass off, gets hurt, does everything he can for a team, but he was just a backup. He had never played, and say, you suck, and have an owner tell the player that they suck. That doesn't send the right message. So what we really need to hope is that Aaron Glenn can control this owner and say, get out of the room. Just stay away from this team and let us do our job and let us create the culture that needs to be created. Because Bill Parcells, if you want to keep comparing Aaron Glenn, he's a disciple of Bill Parcells, you're going to see differences. No one is the same carbon copy of another person. But the one big principle will be he will not have a locker room where an owner gets to come in and tell his players that they suck. That, I could tell you, is probably not part of Bill Parcells and won't be part of Aaron Glenn. So that's something to fix too. But I don't care, from the janitor to the best player on the team to the head coach to the owner. Everything got to change. Everything. It's an organization. It's a company. Every position. People can hurt the team just in the building by leaking information, by bringing down at every level. Who knows? But to have a corporation, a team where everyone's goal is the same, where everyone feels proud to be there, that's the kind of culture you want. But the most important culture of all that we need to change, that needs to be brought in, is winning. And that means the coaches being held accountable, good coaches, good player development, drafting the right players, good schemes, going out there, everybody on the team, understanding the scheme, understanding their role, playing to their best of their ability, and winning. That's the culture I want to see. What do you want to see? Tell me in the comments. Talk to you later, Jets fans.